Today's lesson is 612, Polyhedrons, Part 2. Our learning target today is I can identify the faces, edges, and vertices of prisms. Yesterday, you learned all about prisms. Today, we're going to focus on the bases and faces of those prisms. The bases of a prism are flat, opposite each other, and parallel. If I look at this triangular prism, I notice that the bases of this prism are both flat. They're also opposite each other. I see one on the top and one on the bottom of this prism. Now, I can also see that these bases are parallel. If I were to draw a line running through these bases, my lines would never cross. The bases are also congruent. That means they're the same shape. If I look at the top of this prism, I see a triangle. If I look down, I see the exact same triangle. If I were to take away the sides and match these two bases together, they would line up perfectly because they're congruent. Look at the cereal box. This box is a rectangular prism. Does each face have an opposite face that is parallel and congruent to it? Whisper to the person sitting next to you. If you said yes, you're correct. Notice, the front of this cereal box is parallel to the back of the cereal box. They're also the same size and shape, meaning they're congruent. Now think, how many pairs of parallel faces does the box have? Whisper to your partner again. Great ideas. This cereal box has 3 pairs of parallel faces. The front and the back, which makes 1. The sides, which make 2. And the top and the bottom of the cereal box, which makes 3 pairs of sides. On the screen, you'll see a square. Why is this drawing not a prism? Whisper to your partner. Great thoughts. This drawing is not a prism because it's two-dimensional or flat. Prisms are three-dimensional or 3D shapes. They stand out and take up space. If I were to turn this drawing into a prism, I would need to add some depth to the picture or show that it has sides. I just turned my two-dimensional square into a three-dimensional prism. When naming prisms, it's important to recognize the shape of the prism's base. Look at these three examples. We have triangular prisms, hexagonal prisms, and rectangular prisms. Each of these prisms are named after the shape of its base. When I look at the triangular prisms, I notice that its base is in the shape of a triangle. Looking at the hexagonal prism, its base is in the shape of a hexagon. And looking at the rectangular prism, its base is in the shape of a rectangle. When I look at the names more closely, I notice that triangular prism has the word triangle in it. A hexagonal prism has the word hexagon in it. And a rectangular prism has the start of the word rectangle in it. These names match the shape of the prism's base. When thinking about polyhedrons, there's many different types. Today, we focused on prisms, but there are also pyramids and regular polyhedrons. Despite these differences, there's one major similarity. Polyhedrons are all named after the shape of their base. While a prism has two bases, pyramids only have one base. But notice the name. Here, a rectangular pyramid gets its name from its rectangular base, as we can see there. Just like a rectangular prism gets its name from its rectangular base. So that's the big takeaway. When naming polyhedrons, it's important to look at the shape of its base. That will help you figure out how to name its shape.